Live from the Canadian Broadcasting Centre, this is CBC Connects.
Hey everyone, welcome to CBC Connects. Centennial College is in the house today. Hi guys. Give yourself a big round of applause. I'm in love with today's show. I'm a huge fan of comedy, and we have one of Canada's greatest funny men ever. Ron James is here with some of his co-stars and writers of The Ron James Show. If you want to join in this conversation with us, if you're at home, at CBC, hashtag CBC Connects, you guys here, we're going to have a Q&A period. It's going to be great. We also have some students from Humber College, some burgeoning stand-up comedians. They're going to perform today, so we're going to laugh a lot. It's going to be great. But first, I'm super excited. I've never heard this man perform. Tom Power, the host of CBC Radio 2's morning show, and accompanied by John Showman. Guys, very exciting to have you here. Why don't you get the show started for us? Big round of applause for Tom Power and John Showman. right, that's Tom Power and John Showman. They're gonna come back at the end of the show to play some more. Tom, if you can join me over here for a second. I got a mic for you. Yeah, why don't you take that?
Right.
That was great. That was well worth the wait to hear you perform.
It was fun. Thanks so much.
It was fun.
Yeah. I got to tell you, that was, John is, I'll tell you more about him a little later, but John is considered to be one of the top fiddle players in Canada, and I think you can see why just from that, hey? He's really something else.
And of course, we can usually hear you with the Dardanelles, right, your band?
Yeah, I usually play with the Dardanelles. We're from Newfoundland. I'm from Newfoundland. Is there any Newfoundlanders here right now, by the way?
Yeah.
That was the quietest Newfoundlanders have ever been. Are there any Newfoundlanders here right now? That's right, that's right. There's no
that
one
guy's
left.
definitely from Newfoundland.
There's no one left in Newfoundland now because all of us are here, which is really nice. Here or Alberta. Really,
You look adorable today with your toque. Is this in honor of CBC Music's toque sessions?
Can I be really honest?
Yeah.
It's kind of in that, because that makes sense, and thank you for saying that and digging me out of a hole. It's also because it's really cold and my pipes were frozen. So not these pipes though. So it was between this thing and this.
Yeah.
So I think we all want the toque.
I think the toque works.
Because I look like, in Brad Pitt after like a 7-day bender or something like that.
And yet he still compares himself to Brad Pitt.
Well,
all right.
that's just a
tell us
given.
about the toque sessions that we're in the midst of right now.
Well, out in Vancouver, I got to tell you, I've never been to Vancouver before, which I'm really ashamed of. So the CBC crowd are sending the show out. We're really excited to come out and do the morning show from out there. And it just happened to coincide with this thing called the toque session. So every 2 times a week for like 5 weeks out in BC, CBC brings in some of the finest musicians in all of Canada. While I'm out there, it's a group called the Harpoonist and the Axe-Murderer. As far as I know, not a real harpoonist nor axe-murderer. But you never know, right? Out there. The next night, it's the Great Blackie and the Rodeo Kings. So if you're in Vancouver, for some reason, and you guys happen to be going out there in around February time, you can go see some incredible music at the CBC.
Very cool. I said I hadn't heard you before, but it's not because we haven't asked you to be part of the show. Why did you want to be part of it today?
I don't know. Why?
Well, someone that you're a big fan of is here today.
Who's that?
Mr. Ron James.
Oh, yeah, right. You're playing East Coast. Sorry, I missed that whole thing. I skipped rehearsal. I got my assistant to do it. I can't afford an assistant. I'm only kidding. Playing East Coast music in front of Ron James is a really tough thing to do because he really kind of embodies that kind of spirit from out where we're from. So for me, it wasn't too bad because I'm from the East Coast. But John's from Ontario. I'm sure he was petrified to do it. But I'm looking forward to hearing Ron James.
Absolutely, and it's a special day because he's going to do a little bit of stand-up for us, which is awesome. So why don't you do the honors of bringing Ron on for us?
Yeah, I like to think that our crowd from the East is a little funnier than everybody else, right, man? Oh, yeah. You're darn tootin' right. So would you please welcome one of the funniest men in all of Canada to the stage, the great Ron James.
Woo!
Hello, everybody. Thanks very much. Very cool Hunter orange hat, my friend.
I'm going moose hunting later, so I figured I would.
I hear you, brother.
Thanks, Ron. The
thank
stage
you.
is yours.
Thank you, Jamie.
We'll
Thank
join
you
you
very
back
much.
in a sec.
Yeah, one of the rules of stand-up is never follow a fiddler, so I guess I'm in shit now, aren't I? Anyway, thanks very much for coming, everybody. Very impressive crowd, and may I say, just the most intimate room a stand-up could ever hope to play. 27 floors of Mother Gore minions looking down and judging. So that's great. Marvelous. Look, I feel so very fortunate to be up here. I've been chasing the Grail for 33 years. And, it doesn't happen overnight. And I know that there's some Humber kids coming up here to do some stand-up in a little bit. And I'd just like to debunk any delusions they might be having or any illusions they might be having about how fast it actually starts and where you have to play if you want to make a living in Canada. I used to play up around the tip of Lake Superior. Well, I'm actually getting ready to go out again. It's a great time of year to be on the roads, minus 90, 2.5 hours of daylight. I was around the tip of Superior a couple years ago. My truck was a moving block of salt. I was scared to stop in case every moose in 827 kilometers had their tongue stuck to the front friggin' bumper, right? And it's not cushy gigs, right? No, trust me, man. I'm playing way at the far points of frontier, up by the shores of Lake Windagoostagwin, near the Coojaboojawack, where the Ketchimamuchidi Whackamatak runs thick with pickerel and spring. 500 people in the town, 2 last names. The extra row of teeth comes in handy when the moose meat's tough, right? And I'm staying in Motel Highway Shaggin' Shacks Norman Bates wouldn't run. The smoke alarm is a dead canary in a cage. And they have complimentary coffee, too. It's strychnine. I remember on one motel strip around the tip of Superior, I remember having that sip of coffee and thinking, if this coffee's a wake-up call, if this coffee is a compliment, my wake-up call must be a kick in the nuts. And the dryness, you have to turn the humidifier on. If you don't, you wake up in the morning 3 feet shorter. I look like a Mennonite apple doll. Something you'd nail to the front door to scare off the Jehovah's Witness. So, because everybody loves to see them coming. And why do they have to knock on the door when I'm suffering one of those 5-alarm hangovers, you know? On Saturday morning, your buddies from university have come through town. You haven't seen them in 27 years. You go out on Friday night drinking like you're at a Viking funeral. Have another, my friend, for tomorrow we attack at dawn. You wake up in the morning curled in front of the toilet in a fetal position with your wife standing over you. How you doing today? Big shot, huh? Of course, knock comes to the front door, they leave, I go up 15 minutes later in my bathrobe, I'm shaking like an Irish playwright. I've only got 5 minutes, I tend to talk fast. Knock comes to the front door, I open it. He says, repent, for the end of the world is at hand. Holy Jesus, buddy, tell me something I don't know. Okay. And so, lo and behold, here you are, 55, and you've been at it for 33 years, right? And you notice life changes. And they change, your body changes at the most innocuous times, at the most mundane of movements, you know? You could be walking across the kitchen floor one day when, what the hell is that? He says, I was just going to get the butter in the fridge. And you go to the doctor and he says, look, you've got a torn meniscus. Your injury is typical of aging athletes. I said, athlete? Jesus, I got 7 goals in 10 years playing Halifax minor hockey and 6 were on my own friggin' net. I guess the guys who were good must be sucking their steak through a straw now, are they? And what the hell happened? I started growing a cyst on my face. I didn't know what the hell that was, right? So I thought, oh, great, good. So I go into the plastic surgeon because you can't be on CBC and have a lump in your face, right? You can have a lump in your shoulders like Kevin O'Leary and then you get 3 shows. All right, if a red dot comes on my forehead, you know he's got me in the crosshairs. Those Dragon's Den guys with the numbers they get, they walk on water, baby. So anyway, they send me into the plastic surgeon's office, right? Up in Yorkville. I'm way out of my depth, man. I go into that waiting room, I'm not shitting you, right? There were things that crawled out of swamps in the Cenozoic era, never had liver lips like the poor thing beside me. Oh, she'll never eat a bowl of soup again. What a sin, just like that. I thought the doctor had fallen asleep with the collagen needle stuck in her kisser, right? I felt sorry, you know. I wanted to chuck her a couple of smelts. See, this kills elsewhere, but in Toronto, we're just so sensitive. So I go into the plastic surgeon's office, I walk out, I'm bleeding like a stuck pig. I said to myself, I'm gonna have some fun here. I looked at everybody in the waiting room, I said, run for your lives, this doctor's a butcher. I was a good-looking woman when I walked in here. So thank you very much for these 5 minutes, and just in case anybody is thinking, oh my gosh, you know, it's such a red carpet life as Helmet Head and the neocon patriarchs in Ottawa who egregiously cut the Mother Corps' budget. I remember when I started, the Mother Corps' mammaries were fit to bursting with milk-giving life for the artist. But now they're somewhat depleted and everybody's fighting for a muckle of that very drained nipple. So, I thought that was poetic. So, just in case you're wondering what happens when you get on the road, you know what? From time to time, you do tend to pick up a few boons. I've got a hat from the Dwitch and Cribal Council. How many people in the audience have that? Thank you. I have a Mountie hat from the Yukon. Look at that. So if I'm wearing that Mountie hat when I'm speeding, I never get a ticket. I have an autograph number 4 from Bobby Orr's museum up in Parry Sound. And last but not least, purchased in Banff, if you're ever out there, a fossilized 70,000-year-old turd from the Cretaceous period. Everybody needs a paperweight. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Let's keep it going for Ron James. Ron, you gonna come join me back here?
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, everybody.
It's really cool to have you here, I have to say.
Well, thank you very much, Jamie.
Isn't this cool here in the CBC Toronto atrium? Pretty great.
It's very nice, yes.
Yeah, do you want me to help you with your stuff?
You know what?
I'm
just gonna put my loot here.
Yeah.
Just put it back in the bag. It doesn't fit, my head's too big. My show's been on for 5 years. Thank you.
All right, have a seat with me. Here, you're here. We've got you right here with your stuff.
All right.
Everyone's got their pads and pens for the Humber students later on.
This is like the days when you'd have to get your hair cut, you know, when you were a little kid. And it was always a bonus when you didn't have to sit on the board. Just taking you tweeting kids back to a simpler time. The tour starts, actually. My tour starts tomorrow in Peterborough. I've added 5 encore dates, so it's going great. So up and down the 401 in the dead of winter, just living the Canadian showbiz dream. To Kingston. I am coming down to Kingston. Are you up here on parole, or? Good.
How many times over do you think you've crossed the country?
Well, this is my 15th year playing the soft-seaters, and 5 or 6 in the clubs prior to that. So I've lost count, but it just keeps on giving, you know. You always find something new. But embracing the idiosyncrasies and the virtues of people and place, from Corner Brook to Courtney Comox, just the fact that you're able to make a living here without chasing an American dream just gives me great satisfaction, because you know, when you've been traveling a salt-choked piece of asphalt for 5 hours, and you know the theater's full, and then it's full the next day, and you're able to line up the planets and make sense of the chaos we're all walking through with a Canadian perspective, and you're making a living. It's just a bonus.
Yeah, good advice for all the young talent we have here today, right? All right, so we're going to season 5 of the Ron James Show.
We are, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, how was making season 5?
Well, we had a shift of the paradigm this year, and we're new and improved. We revitalized the brand. We created a new stage, much more intimate. Before, we had a distance between myself and the audience, but Lynn Harvey, the executive producer, said, let's take a look at stuff, let's make some changes. We saw Louis C.K.'s special. I really dug the theater in the round, how it was raw and real and intimate. And look, Louis has the freedom that because he's on HBO, you shouldn't make the assumptions, whatever acolytes are here in stand-up, that you're going to get the same freedom. You have to learn to work within the box. Canada's very litigious. Our satire laws are somewhat hobbled, and you don't have the freedom that the rebels do in the States. And the country has a deference for authority, because we hung our only rebel 150 years ago, and the feds still haven't pardoned Louis Riel. So you know you got to be doing something right when Ottawa hates your guts that long. So we did that. We added graphics pieces. We added satiric songs. We trimmed the monologues down so that it wasn't a 7-minute monologue. We tried to adapt to the changing tastes and the changing shelf life of the average person's attention span, like the guy who's yawning right there. And so you wouldn't want me as a teacher, brother. So I'd go second show Sudbury on your ass in a heartbeat. So these are the changes that we made. And we still have the Little Ronnies, but we've added a very unique piece called Robert De Niro's Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, where Bobby talks about the iconic lands and countryside of the country. It's very absurd, but it works. And once again, we've got a host of actors who bring a very advanced and colorful pedigree to our show. One of the greatest treats that we have with the show is our ability to incorporate the comedic community in the country, and some of them are going to be coming up here now.
And what a great thing to be able to do, right? To work with your friends every day.
It's great. I mean, some of those folks have known for 30 years, 35 years.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's... and that's, you know, longevity in comedy is important. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't catch lightning in a bottle. And like a good boat builder or a carpenter, like a carpenter, the first time a carpenter picks up a hammer, he doesn't build a mansion. And the first time a comedian gets 10 minutes that work, he doesn't get a special. So it's always work. And these people who come on the show are examples of that. And what else have I forgotten? We've got the stage recreated. We've got the trimmed down monologues.
We're going to see some of it.
Oh, are we?
And we have some of those great actors here with us today and writers. But first, let's take a look at a sneak peek of the new season of The Ron James Show.
Thanks very much. When it comes to being a clueless wonder, people who keep exotic pets take first prize. It's hard enough when you see YouTube footage of a woman being viciously mauled by her pet chimpanzee. It's even more disturbing when they're wearing matching dresses.
You sure hate the Chinese.
I don't hate the Chinese. What
Come on, your book is 378 pages of Chinese human rights violations.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Chinese government.
You do know the Chinese government is run by Chinese people.
Can we start over, please?
Did he just walk on water?
Unbelievable. There we are in a boat in the middle of nowhere when along comes Jesus.
Silence! You are our prisoners now.
Getty?
Mr. Argeson.
Guys, this is Getty. I was his foster parent through Child Adopt International.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I work hard. No, I don't sleep. Yes, I live in my Rolls Royce. No, I don't have time for a home, a family, or a shower.
Now, while you're there, see if you can get Hattie Milner on that thing. I loaned her $5 on VE Day and tell her I wants it back.
Good evening, Excelsior, and welcome again to From the CBC Vault.
What do you mean we had to let him go?
Cool it, partner.
Damn it! I brought those chairs from home.
Pretty powerful stuff. What? How you doing? I'll eat my soup. I look down. Who's this? It's a f***ing rat in my soup. Are gonna wish you were never born. Surprise! Guys, did he know? Did you know? I almost blew it.
Hold it, Petey.
Oh my gosh, it's really the Wiener Water Otter.
Wagyu beef. It's simply the most pampered beef in the world.
I'm gonna give her 5 more minutes.
Very good.
I'll be out of here faster than you can say sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla.
Yeah, just don't.
Ah, pickles.
John, this song's to let you know we've had to let you go. We've had to let you go. Oh, John.
Ron, with all the amazing success that you've had, it's hard to believe that you didn't always plan to go into comedy. You went to school for something else originally, right? Do you want to tell these students what changed your path?
I guess at Acadia, I got a degree in poli-sci and history, but what really changed my path, I guess, was doing hot knives on Friday night with my buddies.
That's going on the
It'd
internet.
just be like, give James some, and I'd talk for 3.5 hours. No, it was good fun. Really, what inspired me to chase this grail was, you know, I was an actor for 17 years, and it was during my some pretty lean years in California. I went down to do a series that actually Linda Cash and Deb McGrath had created called My Talk Show, which they sold to Ron Howard's company. I was a character on it. The show was canceled. I was out of work for 1.5 years. And so to stop from going squirrely, I started writing my observations about being in California, which it became my first one-man show up and down in Shaky Town. And I used to take my my 5 minutes worth of material up to the Adventura Boulevard Coffee House when that scene was just starting. And I'd throw my name in the hat with 35 other hopefuls, and I shared the stage with the illegitimate spawn of the Charles Manson clan, who used to wander down from the Topanga Canyon Warrens with their poetry and prose, looking for the love that Charlie never gave. So it was a fairly eclectic room you played for. But I'd be reading stories about a Canadian's perspective on being in California, and these people who I never knew, who were American and from all points of frontier, come there to find their grail. They dug it, you know, and they got it. So there was a universality in that. So coming home, I decided to shift into stand-up. So after 18 years being an actor and waiting for the phone to ring and complaining I wasn't getting any work, I did what stand-ups do, which is write and perform and make sense of the world on their own terms through the prism of their experience so they can stop complaining. And it was an empowering victory in baby steps. Each night, you know, at a club, there was a beautiful little club we used to have down on at the corner of Victoria and Lombard called the Laugh Resort, which transferred to the Holiday Inn. But it was a great room because it had a television demographic, you know, and I think that's what we've shot for in the show. I used to say we had like a Parker Brothers mandate, fun for kids from 8 to 80. It always had it on the back of the Monopoly book, on the Monopoly box. So it's been an eclectic and not a straight track by any stretch of the imagination, but it's been little epiphanies along the way rather than one big one that inspire you to follow what it is you know you've been put here for. And the longer you stay in stand-up, it's like Wilmot says, right? One of the great Canadian stand-ups, Mike Wilmot, he says, the longer you stay in stand-up, the more comfortable you become in your own skin and the more comfortable you become with your point of view. But what I've been fortunate with is I have a writing team and an executive producer who have channeled the brand that I worked on for the 15 years I was on the road to accommodate and move it toward the show. And that's where the days at Second City were so important.
And we're going to talk about Second City with everyone in just a second. We're going to bring some of those people out. But first, we have more clips. This one is called Rimouski General. Do you want to set the clip up for us?
Yeah, Gary Campbell, co-executive producer and head writer, and Scott were riffing in the room one day, Scott Montgomery, who's going to come out. And we wanted to do something that the Canadian audiences would reflect on. And we wanted to do something that represented the CBC in all its different manifestations over the years. And so this scene is a perfect example of what a creative writing room performing at the top of their game can come up with. And may I say, the actor in it, Peter Callahan, one of the best comedic actors in Canada today, and Alana Harkin is also in it. So sit back and enjoy our little tip of the hat to the CBC.
Tonight we're having a look at a simply super hospital drama, Rimouski General.
No, just one shot and you can have all the ice cream in the world.
I don't know how to thank you.
Don't thank me. Thank the hands.
After the pilot aired, the hugely popular actor Gabriel Bonnet tragically drank himself to death. But using only recycled footage from the pilot, they were able to keep Gabe Bonnet alive throughout all 28 episodes of their first and only season.
I don't know what to say, Dr. Parker. That was amazing.
Don't thank me. Thank the hands.
You know how much I love you? As much as...
All the ice cream in the world.
Yes. As much as all the ice cream in the world.
And now let's bring out some of Ron's friends from The Ron James Show. Please welcome 3 guest stars on the new season of The Ron James Show. Let's bring out Linda Cash. There she is, Marty Adams, Alana Harkin, and co-executive producer and writer Scott Montgomery. Welcome, everyone. Nice to have you all here. Thanks for bringing your team out, Ron.
No sweat.
All right, guys, what's the best thing about working on The Ron James Show?
Well, there are many things. You know, I actually was just saying this to Scott backstage. One thing I personally love about Ron is that he's very open and honest and very frank, and he will tell you anything, which makes working on the set so refreshing and lovely in the entertainment business. But what I personally love is that when you're an actor, they email you the sketch, and every time I read a sketch from The Ron James Show, I'm just like, what brain came up with this? It's so great because I feel like I've performed a sketch from every decade at this point with every.
That's why you gotta have good writers, because they don't all come from my noggin, that's for damn sure.
I think the other thing is that I never have the same character twice. I never have the same hairstyle, the same costume. I get to do a career's worth of character work in a season, which is such a bonus. Also, it lasts a day, so you know, we have a fantastic time, and we have lunch together, and we talk about all sorts of stuff. He's a really awesome trailer, so I get to visit his trailer.
I've never been in his trailer.
Oh, it's big.
Huge trailer, huge.
Big, yeah.
I just talked about roughing it in Lake Superior, Linda.
So I hang around the door of his trailer until he lets me in, which is nice. And but it's a fun day, but it's a different character, so I just have a gas, and it's challenging enough. And it's, you know, sketches alive and well on the Ron James Show, which is great, which is what I love to do most.
I've had different experiences. Ron has a saying when I'm on set, "Get out of my shot, kid." No, it's the greatest. It really is the best time, and the crew is a family. I receive text messages from people just wishing me a happy day, which is annoying because I don't like people. But no, and again, I can't talk enough about how gracious Ron is. A lot of times you'll walk in to a situation where someone's the lead and the star of a show, and they won't be very gracious, and it's all about them, you know, taking the funny bits and what have you. But with Ron, he's always a consummate professional and always lets you shine as well. And I want to thank you for that, Ron.
Okay, buddy, thanks. Thank you very much. I'm just getting...
Marty wins.
I have people who I work with behind the scenes who will argue that point vehemently with you, Marty.
Are you going to counterpoint this, Scott? No.
You know, the thing about behind the scenes of the Ron James, and I was just saying this to Ron this morning, actually, is the environment that we've managed to create, the working environment that we have on the Ron James Show is different than a lot of writing environments that I've been in that it's more cooperative than competitive. And I think that speaks well of Ron and Lynn Harvey, our executive producer as well, is that and also Gary Campbell, who's a co-executive producer on the show as well, is that when we had the opportunity to kind of start building sketches together on the show, everyone kind of pours in their 2 cents on all the bits. We almost break the sketches together. We sort of are like, oh, here are the ideas that we want to work with. Who wants to take this one? And what you end up with then is group ownership of all the ideas. And I think it's a way more efficient way to work than having a competitive environment. I always think competition is less efficient than cooperation. And that's the kind of working environment we have. And so it's a fun job to go to every day. A really fun job.
You know, once again, when Linda was bringing up all the different costumes and things, we have a crew who gets just as excited about performing, about dressing the scenes and dressing us as we do in performing them. I recall we did a sketch a couple of years ago where we were in Civil War uniforms, and Kim Gibson, our wardrobe lady, she was going, listen, I really don't think the buttons are as accurate as you'd like. And, I mean, that's attention to detail. We've got an art department who just lives for dressing our scenes. You know, we used to do a sketch where Franklin was stuck in the north and on the verge of cannibalism. And I had the opportunity to work with Pat McKenna on those sketches. And look, everybody pulls out all stops. And, you know, we don't have a big budget on the show. And, but apparently Stephen Harper is coughing up a few bucks this year specifically for us. Good, Tori's in the audience, perfect. And how did you get in here without the bell going off?
Speaking of your wardrobe and art department, our next clip is a bit of a period piece, Horrible Life. You want to explain that to us?
Go ahead, Scott.
Well, that idea came up, we were just talking about different genre pieces that we could do.
Yeah.
And you know, with everything that's been going on with banks and with global finance and stuff like that, we kind of looked back at the movie It's a Wonderful Life and the very famous run on the old building and loan where everybody wants to get their money out. And we sort of imagined what it would be like if you tried to reset that scene with modern banking values, and then you throw in a little bit of Linda Cash and a little bit of Marty Adams, and you
my innate resemblance to Jimmy Stewart.
Well, I mean that's Ron every day. It says, "I'm the Jimmy Stewart of our time." Yeah, so that was basically the idea for this scene, and we just wanted to get some point of view and have some fun doing a genre piece. So,
great, let's take a look at that clip.
Whoa, hold on now. What seems to be the problem?
The bank's closed its doors.
Right, we've come here to get our money before your savings and loan closes too.
Tom, the money's not in the safe. Money's not even here.
Oh, let me guess. It's at Joe's house and Ethel's house and Devin's yurt. Is that what you're going to tell us?
Oh, it's still invested in people's houses, just not Joe, Ethel's, and Devin's.
Then whose?
It's in Chang, Lam, and Wong's.
Our money's in China?
Yes, and they took that capital and invested in Canadian condominiums, thus re-stimulating our economy.
And artificially inflating the condo market.
Well, we know that now.
Either give me my money or I'm going to the Securities Commission and report you for your shady practices.
Whoa, hold your horses there, Tom. You pull one string on this thing and the entire shirt unravels.
Well, somebody's got to be held accountable.
Oh, I agree. I just don't want it to be me.
I like the curls, Linda. It's a good look on you. It's a good look on you.
Yes. We wear undergarments from the time as well.
Do you really?
And underwear from the period. It's very painful.
You too, Marty?
No, they don't really care with me. They just toss me an old coat that they found on the street and just no, they're very particular. It's great. The funniest thing about this was we go to film it and we're doing like a rehearsal and Linda's doing her lines and she's got this great old-timey accent and I'm going, hey, yeah, what about our finances? And then the director comes up to me and goes, yeah, you see what Linda's doing there, Marty? And I go, she's great. And he goes, yeah, do that voice. And I go, I'll do my best. So what you saw was my best.
That's the great thing. It's the great thing about Marty Adams as an actor, folks, is he can be shamed into any performance at any time.
Since we have a lot of young people with us today, I want to talk a bit about what it takes to get from the beginning to here, where you do get to work with the best in Canadian comedy on your show, your friends, every day, which is pretty incredible. You're all Second City alums, correct?
No,
Except for Atlanta.
I'm Dirty Comedy Club alum. I'm dirty, urine-stained, backstage of the Rivoli alumni.
There was
It
urine
was good
backstage
practice,
at
it was
Second
good.
City too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had stands.
I know that.
What does it mean for your career? What did it feel like to be part of that legendary institution?
Oh, well, for me it was, I mean, it was something that I'm from Winnipeg originally, and when I moved here, it was something that I wanted to do. Obviously, I knew SCTV from when I was young, and growing up, in comedy, it's the only job of its kind, really. I mean, you get to be a professional sketch comic and improviser in Canada or in the United States, in the world. There's basically 10 jobs of its kind, and it's a great opportunity to meet people. Marty and I were in a cast together, and I've since then been able to get over my hatred of him and be here with him today. But it's a great opportunity to meet people, and then having people like Linda and Ron who then become part of your community and part of your peer group. I mean, we were at the 50th anniversary of Second City a couple of years ago, and it was like
Wow.
It was like a great big wedding where everybody, all of these people who are famous and known around the world, we're talking to people who are working behind the scenes as writers, and everybody treats everybody so well. It's just a great community to be a part of. Yeah.
I actually started at Second City as a waitress. So I was at the fire hall and I was a waitress, and I would, it was one of those things where I was taking classes, but I was looking up on stage at, people like John Hempel and Derek McGrath and those guys, and thinking to myself, there's no way. I was one of those where you look up and you go, there's no way I could do that. And I took a lot of courses, and in those days, you got to the touring company a little faster than you do now because there were fewer courses to take. So most of the experience I learned on stage, to the joy of many audiences who watched me learn. But basically, the thing about Second City that's wonderful is it teaches you that through failure, through falling on your face and not doing it well, getting up and sort of surviving that, you incrementally get better and better. And there are some people that were just sort of made for it, and others like me who had to really, really work to get my craft together. Because I was headed for Stratford and took a big detour because I had a crush on someone. So sometimes that's how life works.
That can happen.
And for the next 4 years, I was doing Second City, and I'm so happy to be a part of that family because that's what it feels like.
And what about starting your own, best advice for starting your own sketch or improv group, and how can that help you get somewhere like in the Ron James writing room or on the cast?
You just do it. Really, that's it. I mean, there's no real magic equation. If it's stand-up, you just, you find open mics, or if it's sketch, you find like-minded comedians or people who will challenge you. I didn't have the Second City. I had, rehearsal rooms that we booked in churches where my friends would just look at me going, no, that's terrible, you can't do that. And then we would just make each other do terrible things on stage, which, for a laugh, and it worked in our favor. I was in a sketch troupe called the Atomic Fireballs with 3 other women, and we were one of the first female sketch troupes in Toronto, and we had to fight our way onto stages, but we did, and it was great. And now I get to be on the Ron James show.
Yeah, you do. Okay, let's take a look at another clip from season 5. Sorry, Ron, go ahead.
To say about the days, I was in Second City 30 years ago when it was the old fire hall on Lombard Street. And in those days, there were 2 options. There was Yuck Yucks, where you'd be a stand-up, and there was Second City, where you were an improviser. And nary the twain shall meet. And I just want to tip my hat to the ethos and the cross-pollination of those disciplines today, because you have stand-ups doing improv, improvisers who are doing stand-up, and they know that it's not exclusive. So the more eclectic you can become, is an advantage, but make no mistake, this is a calling. The road takes no prisoners and comedy doesn't suffer fools. It's work, and it's not a red carpet life. It's a trade. It's a working life, and you got to get behind the mule and plow. And I have the fortune in this show to create in a way I never had the opportunity to create in Second City a long time ago, because confidence comes with time, and you have to be war-honed. You have to put your time on stage. It's like George Carlin said, stage time, stage time, stage time. In Steve Martin's biography, Johnny Carson leans toward him after his 14th time on the show and says, you'll use everything you ever knew. And when we go into the writing room, it's alchemy. You don't know where the funny comes from, but it's pulling gold from straw. And whatever show you're working on, whether it's Rick's, This Hour, the Air Force, anything, it just comes from nowhere. But you've got to be prepared to pull on things and to draw up on things in order to put it on the page, for those of you who are interested.
Let's see some more of what they put on the page, a clip called Wiener Water. Let's take a look at that.
Boy, oh boy, these wieners in a can sure are yummy. But what do I do with this leftover wiener-flavored water?
Hold it, Petey.
Oh my gosh, it's Willie the Wiener Water Otter.
That's right, Petey. I'm Willie the Wiener Water Otter. And what if I told you the only thing better than eating wieners from a can was drinking the water they've been soaking in for up to 3 years?
I'd say, wowza, Willie.
Wowza's right, Petey, and it's good for you, too.
We dip our wieners in the water, then you drink it like you water. Wiener, wiener water.
Years.
Yeah, that's what you worked years for, exactly, Elena said.
Get out there,
right?
Yeah,
You can get there one day.
Yeah. Read your Russian literature so you too can write a wiener water someday.
Get out there in the clubs, everybody, because that's the payoff right there. No, that is actually, Ron and I talk about that Wiener Water sketch a lot.
I used to work in a boiler room at the Maritime Teletel in the phone company, and I had a troll for a boss, just this rotund, Jesus, troll, right? And he made sounds like an orc going to the can. Anyway, I'm going to let that sit with you. And every day he'd go, oh my Jesus, I love these wieners, but what I love more than the wieners is the water they come in. And he used to drink the wiener water. I used to watch him every day. His wife would give him canned wieners, and he loved the water more than the wieners. Thus, memories like the corners of my mind.
A lot of our ideas are actually born of Ron will come in the room one day and we'll just start talking, and I don't know what possessed you to tell us that story that day, but you know, he told us at like 9 in the morning, and around noon when we stopped laughing, we were like, maybe there's a scene in that, and Wiener Water was born. But it is, a lot of our ideas just come from having a group of funny people who sit around and talking about either things that have happened to them or whatever is preoccupying you at the time. And then usually someone, whether it's Ron or myself or Gary or one of the other writers will say, but what if this? And then a scene is born, and you know, something like that, which is one of the weirdest things we've ever done, and I think one of the most delightful it was really just born out of having a very comfortable and very friendly environment and feeling like you can say anything.
So it's therapy. It's basically therapy. Like if you don't have the money to hire a psychiatrist, you should go into comedy.
Yeah,
and just put everything on the table.
There's a whole B-reel that we're not going to show you guys of the dark therapy scenes.
Yeah. Comedy and therapy sounds like a bit of a chicken and an egg thing, though. Which one comes first? All right, so we have 3 students from Humber College. They're going to perform short sets. They're in the comedy program. They're going to perform short sets for feedback from the Ron James gang. Are you guys up for that?
Just before they perform, I just want to say, way to go. A tough gig. And look, you're really cool. So everybody just do what you got to do, because this is a really warm room.
Right, first we're going to bring up Crystal Bartelzi, who's a professor with the program. Crystal, why don't you come on up here and tell us a bit about the program? You can have a seat right there. Hi.
Yeah, professor, I always laugh when I'm called that, like I should be running up in a lab coat and spectacles, but good to be here. Yeah, so I teach. It's a 2-year program that we offer at Humber in comedy and writing. So based on an audition, you get in, and then we teach you all kinds of skills to hone your craft in not only comedy, but also learning about the commercial industry and business side of comedy.
Great. Okay, so we're going to let everyone perform first. You guys have pads and pens in case you want to take notes. First up, Ben Stager. Crystal, why don't you tell us a bit about Ben?
Ben is a very funny, quirky man, obviously very well dressed. He's 21. He hails from Waterloo. Give it up for Ben Stager.
Hey guys, my name's Ben Stager from Waterloo, Ontario, birthplace of the BlackBerry, the greatest cell phone company in all of 2007. A little bit about me, I'm kind of a self-conscious guy, you know. I tend to overthink what other people say about me and think about me, and lately, I've been having this feeling, I don't really know what it is, but lately I've been having this feeling that people around me are really starting to think that I am annoying. I don't know what it is. Is it something on my face? Is it my cute little raccoon eyes? Is it my nice little tush tush? Is it my award-winning smile? I mean, what is it about me that says to other people that I am annoying? Could someone please help me out here? I mean, I'm a decent guy. I do my laundry on time. I sharpen my pencils before I do my homework. I hang out with my parents twice a year, Christmas, my dad's mom's birthday. I just want to know what it is about me that says to other people that I'm an incompetent fool with little to no social skills, and that could be difficult while hanging out with me for an extended period of time because of my lack of self-confidence. I don't know what it is. I hope I could figure it out one day. It would be nice if that day could preferably be today. I think I gotta leave town for a couple of weeks. Thank you very much. I've been Ben Stager. Have a good day.
All right, Crystal, next up is Sam Burns.
Very funny guy from Barrie, 20-year-old Sam Burns.
Oh, hello. This feels kind of like an auction. I like it. It's nice. A little bit about me, you know. How's everybody doing? Is everybody doing good? Yeah. All right. Whoopee. Goldberg. Okay. Anyways, my name is Sam Burns, and I know what you're thinking, and no, I'm not a lesbian. I know. There's some people a little confused right now. They're thinking, it's either a prepubescent young man or a tomboy that works at West 49. I don't know. It's one or the other. The answer is both. I'm actually both of those things. Guys, I'm done lying. I don't lie anymore because I'm god-awful at it. I really am, because I get really nervous and I just end up I lie more to cover up the first lie, and it always starts off so simple. Starts off with, hey Sam, have you heard of the band called The Chairs? The Chairs? Oh yeah. Woo! Love The Chairs. Oh, I own all their albums actually. Really? Wow, those are rare. Jeez. Hey, you think maybe I could borrow those off you? No. I lost them. You know, Tuesdays, right? Yeah, well, how'd you lose them? That's terrible. Oh my goodness. Fire. Excuse me? Fire. My house burnt down. What? Oh my goodness. Sam, when was that? I had no idea. It was last night. God, last night, Sam. Are you okay? Yeah, I slept in a park. It was cold. Old Italian men threw bread at me. It was terrifying. I'm lucky to be here right now, I'll be honest with you. Oh my goodness. Hey, Todd. Todd, get over here. Yeah, Sam's house burnt down last night. What? Your house burnt down? Listen, guys, you just gotta stay positive. That's what you gotta do, you know? That's what I think in these times. You know, you gotta roll with the punches. You know, glass is always full. You start making up sayings. I mean, that's the jam you gotta spread, honestly. Honestly, God. Life's like a shoe. Life's like a shoe. You put it on, you take it off. That's what happened. I'll never forget what my mother said. She said, Sam, you can't pick a pickle if you got 2 onions. And she's right, I've tried. You can't do it. I'm getting that tattooed on my neck next week, actually. So, yeah, well, what about your mom? I mean, couldn't she help you out? Oh, Ma? She died. In the fire. Yeah, she actually caused the fire. Yeah, she exploded. She was an android this whole time. It's this whole thing I don't want to get into, just legal issues. But, yeah, the Chairs, hell of a band. Oh, my goodness, yeah. All right, thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Sam. That was awesome. Crystal, who's our last performer?
Our last performer is a very funny lady. We don't get as many women in the program as we should, but this woman proves that women are just as funny. Only 19 years old, Caitlin Langelier.
All right. I feel like the ugly surprise in this bachelor auction. So, hey guys, my name's Caitlin Langelier. I got my first tattoo last week. I got a pink triangle right here. I got a pink triangle because it's an LGBT symbol, and I'm very proud of my sexuality. And I got it here because, like my sexuality, I'm hiding it from my mom. So I was at A&W the other day, and have you guys ever realized that there's a grandpa burger but no grandma burger? So she's definitely dead, right? Like, for sure dead. And that's a really depressing thought to me, that the Burger family is going to eventually age and die, but they're preparing for it, right? Like, they brought in the Uncle Burger, and it makes me wonder how far they're gonna take it. You know, like they bring in the babysitter burger for a while, and then suddenly she's gone, and you can only get the Papa Burger every other weekend. The Mama Burger becomes the ex-wife burger, and it's exactly the same as the Mama Burger, just full of hot sauce and abandonment issues. And then the ex-wife burger in turn becomes the Cougar Burger, and again, exactly the same, but this time it comes with a teen burger. Value menu. But you know, she'll settle down eventually. They bring in the stepdad burger, and even if you don't love him, you better respect him. And if I ever worked at A&W, which is like a real possibility for my future, anytime that someone ordered 2 teen burgers, I'd just slip a baby burger in there with it. So, like, they get home and they open the bag and they're horrified at the terrible decisions that these 2 burgers have made with each other. They bring it back to the counter. I didn't ask for this. No one does. But you know what? It's your responsibility now. Time to step up. And then they do, and that baby burger becomes the next president burger. So in case you couldn't tell from my preponderance of material on A&W, I've only had 1 boyfriend in my life. And it just didn't work out, you know, we weren't compatible. Like, he was a dog person, and I was so gay. Just so gay. The first time that I ever told that joke, my brother was in the audience, and he didn't know I was gay. That was how I came out to him. And so after the show, he was like, were you joking? Was that a joke? I was like, no, Brian, I'm as gay as the day is long. So I'm actually less gay in the winter, but when I told him, so gay. All right, thanks. You guys have been great. I've been gay. Bye.
That's great, Caitlin. Caitlin, you can stay where you are. All right, Ron James and team. Any feedback? First for Caitlin. Scott's got this one.
Oh, that was great. I have nothing but positive feedback for you. That was hilarious. And you know what? It's great experience for you too, because every comedy gig that you're going to have in your life is going to end with you standing still at the mic after everyone's applauded for your bit. It's just supernatural. This is the way they do it in the clubs now. No, that was fantastic. I literally have nothing to say that other than awesome job. That was great. Yeah.
Outstanding. Honest, real, charming. All the charm in the world, accessibility, all those attributes you need to have a career. And just speaking from the heart, but being real funny too. I mean, we got to get laughs, right? and so good. You're just a joy to listen to and watch.
I'm going to jump in before Linda to say, Scott, yes, it is awkward that she's standing there, and we did bring her and the guys on to music that sounded like it was a cat fashion show, which you pointed out, but it's worth it to hear your feedback. So, Linda.
I love the reincorporation of the auction line, which was clearly improvised, so you warmed us up right away because we knew it was fresh. You included everyone. I felt like your eyes kind of traveled. Did you feel like she kind of included you guys too, which is good? Very smart material. Unpredictable, the dog person. I mean, it's great. That's a great joke. More than anything, the three of you, for me, looked like you liked being here. And I think that's so important, because even if a joke doesn't work, you're having fun having the joke not work, which is great. And you made it all work, so congratulations.
We need to move along for time, but Marty, Alana, really quickly, anything for Caitlin?
Oh, just criticisms. Maybe a wacky hat next time. Real quick, I want to draft off one of your jokes. Ex-wife burger. Wow, no matter how much I'd eat it, it won't give me my money back. True story. No, you guys are awesome. Big round of applause. These guys are amazing.
Yeah, I loved how you had a great idea for a joke and you took it all the way. And I love how you trusted your instincts with that. You didn't stop yourself. And if I ever open a burger joint, I 100% want you to work there.
Okay, all right, thanks, Caitlin. Sam, get on up here.
Oh, it starts with me every time. Oh, okay.
Sure, and we're going to go quickly because we're going to get Tom back up here in a second.
Also, great job. I loved it. And I actually lie the same way as you about bands, and I've buried myself in lies. And I guess my advice to you is it's good that you've identified that now, because I'm almost 40 and my life is just a web of terrible lies. So thanks for getting it. You're ahead of the curve. Well done. Yeah.
You got a very confident persona in front of the microphone, and you look really relaxed. Just to button what Linda said, all of you look like it's a great joy to be here. I remember how much I used to shake when I first do stand-up. So, you know, you got me beat by 20 years. You got to jump on that. But I think you should be conscious of more laughs per beat, and that's, you know, because a story is great. And but stories along the way, think of the laughs as an adhesive that will hold your narrative together, because the audience has to be laughing along. And it's a great story. It's a great premise. So I enjoyed that. And you know, once again, how old are you?
20.
Jesus. Perfect. Yeah.
Linda.
I like the way you had your dialogue. You sort of differentiated really well. You had great body language and great use of the mic. And I loved that your liar was cocky about it, that he wasn't insecure and bad at lying, that he actually was really good. So the only thing I would say is make him even better at lying. And just to show the contrast between the two characters, I think that might, it was very good material though. Thank you.
Wasn't enough wacky hats. I mean, just bring a sombrero up there, and I love it. No, you're phenomenal. Are you kidding me? I mean, when I was 20 years old, I don't know, I didn't do much, you know? It was a sad life for me at the time. But this isn't about me, it's about you guys, and you're phenomenal, sir. I mean, just keep doing it. You're just gonna, by the time you get to my age, I'm gonna be asking you to come do a panel for your show, and you're gonna say no.
Alana.
I want to thank you, because I have a 7- and a 3-year-old, and they're always saying to me, why? How come? Why? And now I have a line. I can say, because that's the jam you got to spread. Yes. So thank you. I appreciate that, Sam.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. We're going to bring up Ben and Alana. Let's start with you.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
great.
let's flip it.
Great
Give Scott a break.
You know, you can always find, how old are you?
21.
You're 21. Oh, you guys, you're amazing. I agree with Marty. I would have never had the guts to do what you're doing right now at 21. So by the time you're my age, which is 84, you will be amazing. You're obviously drawn to character work, and I think that's a really great thing to identify. You know, that's kind of your thing, and well, that's what I'm getting from you right now. So, and that's great, because some people go up and do stand-up and they play themselves, and they've got really great jokes, and you seem to build a little bit of a character, and I would just recommend that to keep working on that and keep finding new characters that you love to play, and maybe even transition them into writing some sketch, which is very fulfilling.
Yeah, no criticisms. Best one of the day. No, I'm joking. But you are great. But the great thing about you is you're going to work a lot because you know how you come across. And that's the biggest thing. I'm getting serious here, folks. I mean, I joke a lot today, but this guy's going to be working a crap ton. All I wrote was a young Scott Montgomery. So there you go. That's the highest esteem I can give. Because this guy is neurotic as hell.
Love the rim joke. Thought it was a great opener. Great eye contact with the audience. I felt like you really connected. Just to have to get peripheral when they're sitting over there as well. Really patient, and you played your pauses. I'd even play them even more because it's awkward comedy. So the longer you can wait, the more awkward it is. So it was great. Thank you.
Yeah, excuse me, absolutely. You know, the character persona that you're working on is, and I mean this is a compliment, it's reminiscent of a Steve Martin tone. It's very Martin-esque. Were you inspired by him when you did this?
Yes.
Yeah, well, great. Well, you know, it's always great to have a mentor when you start and to have comedians who inspire you for a tone and a note. But what you have to haul up is your own life experience, right? And once again, like I said to Sam, you have to be conscious of laughter as an adhesive to your piece because it will hold it together. And so if you're inspired by Steve, cool. And whatever other comedians you're going to be inspired by for the next little bit. But as you move along your road, you have to be conscious of your everyday. I particularly liked your BlackBerry joke off the top, which seemed a little incongruous with your character piece. And, you know, explore that stuff, because clearly that's a strength. It was a nice joke. And everybody knows how, you know, BlackBerry has taken a nosedive. And it's relevant. And, but anyway, continue with that, explore the character, and incorporate your own world, just like you had been doing with being annoying, into your piece.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree with Ron. I love that joke off the top, and I also agree with Linda. I like that you were patient with everything, and I also agree with Marty. I am neurotic. No, but you know what I loved actually, and I just think you could maybe even go further with because you really hung in with the bit. You know what I mean? And you're trusting that the first time you do it, people are going to be looking at you going like, what is going on? Is this guy did he forget his act for a second? Like, and I mean that as a compliment. Like you hang in there with your bit. So I think you can almost even go further with it. You know what I mean? Like, see how far you can push how annoying you're being, you know? So you kind of come back to the I'm annoying thing a bunch of times, but like, see if you can raise the stakes on it the second time you do it, you know, and maybe raise the stakes on it the third time, you know? Because then you get to that bit where you just kind of rambled out at the end, which I really, really liked. I thought that was great. You're a tough guy, man. That's a good bit you're doing, and you're a tough guy for hanging tough with it like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Great feedback, everyone. And let's give them another round of applause. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take audience questions in just a second. Get on up there if you've got one. But first, let's take a look at another clip from the new season of The Ron James Show. This is called The Longest Pipe, and it's a musical number.
Some men need the fastest car. Some men want a trophy wife. Some men crave to rule the world. Some just want the longest pipe. The longest pipe will carry me right into history. The longest pipe gets laid across the land and maybe finished off by hand. The longest pipe. Okay, let's stop pretending this thing has a happy ending. The longest pipe.
Woo! Linda was loving that one big time.
The first time.
That's from the brain of Scott Montgomery and Matt Kippen.
Yeah.
Look, they came in with these songs, and you know, I was the cardboard cutout with the Monty Python yap.
That is, you're being too modest because that song was 100% motivated by Ron's politics, actually, and specifically his passion with regards to what's going on up there right now. Ron's point of view is the backbone of everything we do. I mean, his name's on the marquee, and so where we can get our shots in based on how he feels about the world. So that song was written by Matt Kippen and myself, but it comes from you.
You know, I mean, when we've got a government that's going to throw a 17-year-old kid in jail for having a toke on his back porch, but is going to give a tax break to a tanker that runs aground off a Kitimat, it's room for satire, wouldn't you say? And inspiration, being inspired, and for the kids here too, who did such a great job, a little bit of righteous anger fuels the funny. Watch it doesn't get a hold of you, but but it can drive your funny, and you have to plumb that. You have to get into that country, because it will drive your point of view.
Yeah,
And there's lots to be said today about our country being polarized along political lines in order to feed, the bitumen buck. So, away you go.
Final words about the new season?
We're just so delighted. It's been, we've really come into our own. And I'm fortunate the CBC has maintained their faith over 5 years to allow us to grow and to allow us to become the show that we know we want it to be right from the get-go. I want to thank our executive producer, Lynn Harvey, who always isn't on the panel here and should be, who's always in the background at a table. But it was Lynn Harvey's initiative and drive and 33 years in Canadian show business. I mean, when Lynn Harvey was 12 years old, she was producing the Tommy Hunter Show. Right? And it was her initiative that drove the changes in this show. Sure, we talk a lot, and sure, we collaborate, but it's the team that's put together, the infrastructure that sustains a show over time. And when I become a tool, and I do a lot, she is a voice of reason that keeps the wheel at the helm and the ship going in the same direction. I had a series a long time ago called Black Fly. I never had anybody taking my ship in the same direction. I had a good idea, I had a wrong network, I had a wrong production company, and now I've got a great network and a great production company and a great team who believes in funny. And so that's who we'd like to compliment right now about the changes in the show that's coming this season. And we couldn't be happier, because we're tipping the apple cart, and that's our job as comedians. But I think we've got a little bit of something for everybody. So I hope you tune in. Thank you.
That's great. We've got time for one question from the audience. We're going to do the rest at CBC on Twitter. And it's from a gentleman wearing an orange toque who is also part of this network. Tom Power, you have a question.
Yeah, I have a question. I was going to ask like a saucy or arsehole question, but I'm not going to do that now, because I actually do have a question, and I just realized I actually have the opportunity after seeing what an amazing job the Humber College kids. Didn't they do a fantastic job? It was really great. But one thing that always amazes me about stand-up, and I know so little about it, but was that I remember I think Louis C.K. came to St. John's, and that's where I'm from, in St. John's, Newfoundland, and he had about, thank you, sir. I like your hat, too, thank you. He flew in that afternoon, and that night he did 5 minutes of stand-up about St. John's. And I've seen stand-ups do that before. Like, they blow in that afternoon, but the first 5 minutes of their set are about the place that they're very topical, very geographic-centered. Do you just walk around and come up with that? When do you come up with that?
Yeah, it's exactly what you do, Tom. And you feel a place from the soles of your feet up. And, that's...
Apparently that question didn't go over very well. They
apparently,
didn't like...
No.
They didn't like that one. I don't blame them.
I guess the bus is leaving for Humber, is it?
Yeah, they went, the radio guy's talking now. We're going to get out of here.
Great, no. Those are the A students. They have all the answers. Yeah, so you walk around, and that's why, and you got to be happy doing this gig, because if you felt like you were in purgatory, wherever you're stuck, and, it's the rule of thumb. It's what built my specials, brother. Traveling across the West or BC or Atlantic Canada all those years. And clearly Louis, who's at the top of his game, still maintains that fundamental faith in the work that you have to make it matter for the people you're performing for. And this is, this illusion is perpetrated by celebrity culture that, you got to be getting laughs in LA or New York in order to be validated. That's such horseshit. Because you know what? 2,000 people laughing in Edmonton in a snowstorm sounds exactly the same as 2,000 people laughing in Los Angeles when it's warm. And it's a far more benign and supportive country to pursue your comedy grail than in the carnivorous, blood-soaked arenas of Los Angeles. Trust me. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right.
They didn't appreciate it, but I certainly do.
Well, they've got a packed day here at the CBC, so thanks so much, Tom. Tom and John Shulman are going to come up to do another number. Thank you all so much for being here today.
By the way, Tom, great tunes, buddy.
Yeah. Let's get some more. So season 5 of The Ron James Show debuts Monday, February 24th. You can see everyone here, there, except for Scott. He's behind the scenes, co-executive producer. All right, CBC Connects, we're going to take a little break because the Olympics are coming. All of these monitors are going to be broadcasting really cool stuff during the Olympics. You can check the schedule at cbc.ca, including like the women's hockey final, the men's hockey final. So that's going to be a really cool thing to come and do down here. We're going to be back again Wednesday, February 26th, talking about the Canadian film and television industry, the Canadian Screen Awards, for which Ron James is nominated this year. Congratulations. We've got some of the biggest names in the business talking about making film and television. Don Carmody, George Anthony, Martin Katz, so you won't want to miss that. But right now, we're going to leave you with another performance by Mr. Tom Power, accompanied by John Showman. Thanks so much, Ron James.
Everybody. Thank you.
And friends. Okay, thanks, Tom. Get your photo with everyone on the step and retreat right after.
Am I up?
Yeah, you're up. Take it away.
Okay, I want to. Before we get going, I know that we're slow in small numbers now. I want to introduce this guy right here. He's really one of the finer fiddle players in this entire country. And a couple of years ago, he won this thing called the Clifftop fiddle competition down the States. And he was the second Canadian ever to win it, and it was a really big deal. It's kind of like winning the gold medal of fiddle music. So I figured we'd be remiss if we didn't hear a little bit of music from John by himself. What do you think? Want to hear a little bit? All right. Let's hear some tunes.
Tom, with John, with Ron, with Linda, Marty, Alana, and Scott. So head on over there when we're done. And thanks so much again to the Ron James cast and crew. You gonna do one more for us, Tom?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks. John Showman on the fiddle, everybody.